thank you for the anointing on this day. We thank you for the anointing, the power of God that comes through your word. We thank you that your word changes us, it shifts us, that your word magnifies and grows in our hearts, that it challenges our minds and it takes us to places where we only dreamed of before. It's your word that shapes our future. So, Father, today in Jesus' name, shape our future through your word. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. You can be seated. And again, I forget this, but thank you all so much for last Sunday and last week praying for us as we were celebrating our 30th year anniversary. It was simply amazing. And carrying on in service and Joshua ministering and Eric, everybody who serves this house, we're so blessed. Pastor Linnell decided that she would try to make another 30 years with me, so we're going to try to figure this out. 30 of them. Amen. You might want to take notes today. I want to talk to you from this subject. We're in our Emerge series. Our Emerge series goes through the end of Shake the Nations, or the end of this month. We're going to be teaching on emerging, coming out, coming through, going into the next stage of our lives. How many of you feel like you're there? Amen. You feel like you're there. You feel like, okay, there are some things I got over, got past. I'm moving on. I'm stepping into this new world, this new opportunity that God has for me. Do you feel that? Right? I feel that too. My title today is Don't Sweat It. Look at someone and tell them, don't sweat it. Tell yourself, I won't sweat it. I know that's an old sort of 60s term, but I'll sort of explain it as we go on today. When we talk about emerging or going into a new life or going into destiny or going into the power center of our life or going into a new day, sometimes as we cross over our Jordan, and that's what we've done symbolically, we cross over our Jordan and now we face a place called Jericho. Bishop Tudor was just teaching about it. We face this place called Jericho. Jericho represents the first in our power of accomplishment as we cross over. When we emerge, we come to a place called Jericho, and usually Jericho is so significant because it is a walled city. Jericho's significance is that it's a place we've never been. It's something we've never accomplished. It's something that could be bigger than us. It's something that challenges us. Jericho had walls that were 30 feet tall and 30 feet thick. Them's is walls. I don't know what you're talking about. Those right there, anybody involved in construction, to make a stone wall 30 feet tall, 30 feet thick, and now we have to penetrate those walls to get to our destiny. We have to go through that wall. And people would say, well, I've emerged now, so everything should be easy. Well, because you have emerged, there's going to be things in front of you. But you were born to go against them. If we understand how. So God does, as we're facing Jericho, as we're looking at big walls, we're looking at big opportunities. We're looking at places where we know we can't go back because it's flooded behind us. And it took us a miracle of God to get where we are. It took God stopping the waters of the Jordan for us to even get here. Now, as soon as the priest stepped out of that water, it went back to flood stage. So we can't go back. So we have to go forward now. But how do we go forward when Jericho has bombardments? Jericho has walls. Jericho has catapults. Jericho has modern warfare. Jericho knows how to protect itself. What do we have? We have a couple of machetes, and we have a couple of slingshots. We have been in prison. We have been enslaved for 400 years. And now we've been in a wilderness for 40 years. We got slingshots, arrows, bows, spears. They have real warfare, plus they got a wall. And we're on the outside of that wall. Well, in order for us to go against this wall, God does a few things in our life, and that's what I want to talk to you about this morning. As we're preparing to take Jericho, as we're preparing not just to have a business, but a business that can scale. We're not just going to get married, but we're going to fill the earth with powerful children. We're not just going to sing a song, but we're going to take that song around the world. This is not just introducing something and doing something. This is doing something at the highest level possible. That's what emerging is all about. Emerging is about, I'm not just going to do something. I'm going to do something that really makes sense and it makes a difference. Say, make a difference. This morning, I believe that there are people attracted to Ambassadors Worship Center who really want to make a difference. They really want to make a difference. That's the only reason they're here. If they did not want to make a difference, they would get up out of here quick. But they believe that God has something deep in their soul and spirit. They believe that they can do something in the world that blesses people. I'm with you this morning. Amen? So now God prepares us to possess. Write that down. God prepares us to possess. Now, this is what you have to understand. Before I give you this list, you have to understand that your preparation matches your possession. Your preparation matches your preparation. Matches your possession. So whatever God has designed for you to possess, you got to know that whatever you go through is preparation for that. And if your dream is big, there's going to be big preparation. There's going to be huge preparation for that possession. If you're just studying medicine just to pass and now you just want to be a doctor, that's one thing. But if you're studying medicine because you believe you have a cure for cancer, that's a higher calling. That's a bigger thing. If you want to get married just because you are burning, that's one thing. But if you want to get married because you want to build a family that impacts the world for generations, that's another thing. So if you're building that kind of family, you have to expect the preparation to do that. Amen? So now, God prepares us to possess. He prepares us to possess destiny. And he does a few things. This is found in Joshua 4. Everything I'm going to read to you is from Joshua 4 and Joshua 5. And I'm going to give you 5 or so ways that God prepares you to possess. Before you even start talking about Jericho, which we'll talk about next Sunday. Before you even get to the walls, there are some things that's going to happen in your life. And maybe they're already happening. And you might even hear while I'm talking to you, you might say, well, yes, that's happened to me before. But what you have to understand is that every time you emerge to a bigger place, you're going to go through this same cycle. The same cycle is there. And if you're tired now, if you don't understand this process, eventually you'll hit your own ceiling. Have you ever been around a person who, okay. I just got a question for you because I'm learning some stuff. I never knew. That's Mississippi for I never knew. I didn't know it. I'm learning how to recognize when someone I love has hit their ceiling. When a friend of mine has hit their ceiling. When a family member has hit their ceiling. And I'm saying, let's keep going up. They're like, no, we're not going up. This is as far as I want to go. This is as much as I want to do. This is as much energy that I want to exude in this project called me. I don't want to give any more effort to make myself better. I don't want to read anything. I don't want to deal with myself. I don't want to deal with what's going on in my head, my heart. I don't want to deal with that. Now you got to make a choice. You got to make a choice. God did. God made a choice when 2 million people decided we don't want to go there. We don't want to go. We don't want to go across. We don't want to go to promise. We have no interest in going. Was that for Joshua and Caleb not to go? Joshua and Caleb's like, we going. We're going to this next level. So they had to go through the 40 years of wilderness to get to that place. And in a lot of ways, some relationships around you, you're going to have to let die in the wilderness because you're going on. And you want to make sure that when you're with people who are going on, that as they go up levels, just hang on. Even if you feel uncomfortable going to the next level, just hang on to them. If you going, I'm going. You're not leaving me here. You're waiting for this list. Let me give it to you just in case. The first thing God's going to do is give you what I call story stones. He's going to give you story stones. The next thing he's going to do, you still with me? He's going to give you an awareness. An awareness. Number 3, what he's going to do, he's going to mark you for a covenant. That's number 3. Number 4, he's going to remove the reproach on your life. Huge, big deal. Number 5, he's going to take you to a place where there's no more manna. No more manna. You still with me? Then finally, he's going to show you that the battle is his. You got them all? So that people don't say you didn't finish your sermon. I just finished it. Now let me go back. I just finished it, right? Y'all got them? What's number 1? It's going to give you story stones. Number 2, he's going to make you aware or give you a sense of awareness. I'll explain that. Number 3, he's going to mark you for a covenant. He's going to mark you for a covenant that no one and nothing can stop. Number 4, remove the reproach. Number 5, take you to a place where there is no more manna. And number 6, he's going to show you that the battle is his. Joshua 4:1-9, there's a story. There's a story that right after they finish crossing the Jordan, the priests have their feet still in the Jordan River, but the waters have receded. The waters have banked up on each side. And God tells Joshua, get 12 men, a man from each tribe, not necessarily the leader of the tribe, but pick a strong man that can carry a stone. 12 men, 12 stones. Bring those 12 stones out of the riverbed, bring them on land, and we're going to make a memorial. These are your story stones. Right in the middle of what you came through, pick some stones and bring them with you. These are pillars, stones, rocks. These are strong places in your life that you went through a tough time, but you bring memory of that. You bring the rock of the ages that brought you through. You bring the pillars, the principles, the power of where you were, and now you overcame it. It's like cutting off Goliath's head and bringing his head with you. So these are story stones. He says, bring stones out of the place you were bound that caused you to cross over, and they're going to be your story. So he says, what is the story? We'll read this one together so you understand the story. Joshua 4:8. Put this in your notes. So he says, go get the stones, make a pillar, make an altar with the stones, and this is why. Let's read it together. And the children of Israel did so just as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones from as the Lord had spoken to Joshua, according to the number of tribes of the children of Israel, and carried them over with them to the place where they lodged, and they laid them down there. They laid them in that place. Next verse. Then Joshua set up 12 stones in the midst of the Jordan, in the place where the feet of the priests, okay, and there, so here are 24 stones. Okay, watch me now. 24 stones. 12 men took stones out of the riverbed, and they're going to make a pillar and an altar with them. Joshua himself went into the riverbed and set up 12 stones in what they came out of before the waters took them over. Here is why they did it. Joshua 4:24. This is why. This is why God wants you to be able. Listen, okay, don't read it yet. Look at me for a moment. Okay. This is why God wants you to be able to look at stones that no longer affect you. This is very important. Very, very. You don't know you're over something till you see what used to mess with you. You see it and nothing happens inside. You don't know you're past it till your heart rate used to go up when that name came up, or when you saw a car like the one you had a wreck in, or when you saw a house like the one you lost, or a man or a woman like the one you, okay. So when you, can we say it like that? That's not good. Is that good? When you see it and your heart rate goes up or you get angry, you know you're not past it. But when you're able to look at something and it does nothing to you, you know God has done something in your heart. Now you can move on. Somebody say yes. And it's really important before you go to your Jericho to be over some stuff. You need to be in a place where you're done with that, or you just don't care. I'm going to go scared. I'm going to go upset. I'm going to go mad, but I'm not staying here. Or, I mean, what y'all say? In my feelings. Okay, so now let's read it. Yeah, 4:24. Thank you so much. Thank you so much back there. Okay, Joshua 4:24. 4:24. Read it. That all the people, no. Let's go up one verse, right? Go up 23. For the Lord your God dried up the waters of the Jordan before you until you had crossed over. As the Lord your God did to the Red Sea, watch, which he dried up before you, us, until we had crossed over. Next verse. That all the peoples of the earth may know the hand of the Lord. That is, that you may. So this is why we're setting up stones. Because one day you're going to bring your children down to the Jordan to fish, to get water. Somebody's going to be traveling this way, and they won't remember what happened. They won't remember how God brought us out. Well, when you come to this place and they say, what are those stones for? You'll be able to say, listen, okay, every culture has this, I believe. It doesn't matter where you're from, there's a storyteller in your family. Whether it's in English, Spanish, Swahili, there's somebody who tells a story. So you show up at Auntie's house or Uncle Larry, or you show up at Grandma's house, and there's this little thing on the mantle or figurine or something stuck to the refrigerator, and it makes no sense to you. It doesn't make any sense to you. It doesn't make any sense to you. So you say, hey, Grandma, what is that? Why is there a rose stuck in the Bible on this page? Grandmama will say, sit down, baby. So grandmama will say, sit down, let me tell you the story of your great-grandfather. Let me tell you the story of Aunt Gertrude. Let me tell you what God did for our family. Now you're connecting. It's a story stone. It is there to remind all of us. When my marriage was struggling, man, 30, 20, 27 years ago. Dang, 27 years ago. And I'm like, God, I'm not, this ain't what she signed up for. This ain't what I signed up for. She don't want me to come home. I don't want to go home. Something happened to me, though, in the middle of that. I was reading a book that never should have had a picture of our wedding in it. I don't know how the picture got there, but I just picked up the book and our wedding picture fell out. But it wasn't the wedding picture. It was a picture of me and her father. They snuck in a picture while I was talking to him. And in a second, I remembered what I said to him. Sir, you can trust me with your daughter. No matter what happens in our marriage, I'm going to take care of your daughter and I'm going to take care of her children. I made him that promise. So I put the picture back in the book, cussing a little bit. Put the back in there. Oh, God, I don't understand why. I mean, it's all this stuff. She don't even want me. Okay, that's too much. And I'm not sure I want to be here. I want her, but this is too much. Murch, M-U-R-C-H. So you're going to have to help me make it through this. You're going to have to help her make it through this. And then I just told her the story, showed her the picture, told her the story. That was a memory stone. Because I had to say to her, I fasted and prayed and asked God, God, you know I don't want to be married. It's not something I personally desire, because I had never seen a strong one. Not even in church, I'd never seen a strong one. Okay, can we talk? I had never seen a strong one. Yes. I had never seen a strong one. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And I don't want to mess up some young woman's life. But that memory stone jerked me back into place. So I had to tell her the story. I prayed, I fasted for God to show me who to marry. I prayed and I said, I didn't have a father. I never saw a man be with a woman. Never saw it. Never understood how to do it. I know I'm getting stuck, but let me finish. I didn't know how to do this. I didn't have the experience. But I had to tell her, I asked God. And I had to tell her God gave her to me. That stone brought us together. So what are your memory stones? I got stuck. What's your memory stones? What stuff would you go back to and look, that even though you're getting ready to face your Jericho, there's a stone in your life that says, I remember when God was with me. I remember God bringing me through that. I remember when I didn't have books for the class and somebody gave me the books. I remember when I was in the car accident and God brought me out of it. I remember when I was in this certain place. God now restores you by giving you memories of his goodness. See, sometimes the only way you're going to make it through what you're going through is that you can remember the goodness of God. Ask the person next to you, don't you remember, don't you remember, don't you remember, can't you remember one thing? No. That neighbor didn't want to come to church. Turn to another neighbor that's okay being in church today. They ain't got no problem being in church. They cool being in church. They feel okay being in church. They don't mind saying amen. They don't mind talking back to the preacher. Ask that neighbor, can't you remember one thing God did for you? Well, I'm in a mess now, Pastor. That's why I want you to remember. If you're in a mess, I want you to remember. I want you to go back just a couple months, a couple weeks, a couple years, a couple decades, and remember how good God was to you. Well, I don't like what's happening to me right now. I know that. That's why I want you to look back. When you couldn't help yourself, couldn't do anything for yourself, God stepped in or sent a friend to help you. Keep you from committing suicide. Keep you from walking away from God. Somebody sent you the exact amount of money you needed for rent. That's the stuff you pull out when you're in trouble. Somebody shout for just 2 seconds. Y'all know I got to keep going. Y'all know I got to keep going. But can I get about 12 people to stand on your feet and say, Lord, I remember how good you've been to me. I remember how good you've been. I remember when it was over. I remember the moment I wanted to die. I remember the moment they told me I would die. I remember the moment I wish I could be dead. You brought me through it. If you didn't let me die then, I'm going to stay right here. God, while I was smoking and shooting and drinking up, you were there with me and kept me safe. Somebody next to you needs to be encouraged just for about 2 seconds. Shake somebody's hand and tell them, just remember for a second, just for a second how good, no matter what's going on in your life, just remember for a second how God. Come on, go find somebody, shake them by the hand and tell them, just remember for 2 minutes how good God's been to you. Hey, 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 hey. Hallelujah. Come here, Damon. Come here quick. What's that in your hand?
At a time when I thought everything was going right, the Lord came in and said, wait a minute, there's a wilderness. And my wife and I have kept this for years. It says, reason, Damon Ellington. It says, Foreman, Thomas Bell. Question, the jury cannot unanimously agree. What are our options? Here I am. Hallelujah.
See, I can't even read the note. It ain't even, it ain't even legible. I'm scared, I don't want to break it. It's all twisted. He's kept this for how many years?
At least 10, 12 years.
This is a stone. Listen to me. If you're fighting for your marriage, if you're fighting for your kids, if you're fighting for your business, if you're standing in the gap for what you believe, don't let nobody make you feel any kind of way. You keep your stone in front of you. If you're supposed to get the degree, sleep on the campus till they let you in. Keep it in front of you. Keep that dream in front of you. Keep it in writing in front of you. Don't let it die. Y'all know I gotta move on, right? Give me a couple more minutes. Y'all sit down, please. Thank y'all so much. Okay. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. If God told you you're going to have a baby, you could lose 12 of them. Oh! It don't matter. Buy a baby booty, buy a pamper, buy a blanket. Keep that thing in front of you. This is my stone. Well, Pastor, I'm not even married and I'm 50. I don't care. If God told you you were going to have a legitimate baby, shut all of us out of the room. Don't even let us talk to you. If you got a dream, don't even let us add to your dream. Don't let us take from your dream. Don't let us manipulate or stay right there in what God showed you. If I had let my wife leave and if I had left her, I would not have my children. I would not be here. I wouldn't have the wealth of friendships I have. All that came out of remembering what God wanted for me. Put something in your house, something It may be weird to other people. Forget them. It's your house. Put something in your house. I don't care if you put it in the middle of the entrance, so that when your children walk by it, they say, Mom, what is this? Dad, this is weird. What is this? It's a tricycle in the middle, an old tricycle that don't even work, in the middle of the entrance. Dad, why is this tricycle here? Well, son, when I was 4, I was on a tricycle like that, and that's the first time I heard God's voice. And God told me I would have a son like you. See, these are stones. Everything you suffered is a stone. If you were abused, take a stone out of that river. Bring it into your space. And look at that stone and never remember the abuse. Never feel it. It's just something that makes you remember. Number 2. Thank you. Okay, for real though. Linus. Thank you. Number 2, what did I say? Joshua 5:1. Okay? The Holy Spirit can interrupt me, but I don't want y'all to interrupt me again. Joshua 5:1, read it. So it was when all the kings of the Amorites who were on the west side of the Jordan and all the kings of the Canaanites who were by the sea, they heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of the Jordan from before the children of Israel until we had crossed over, that their hearts melted and there was no spirit in them. They didn't even have heart to fight anymore. This is this awareness. God's going to give you an awareness, acute sense that he's not only with you, but that he's always been with you. And you're going to have that sense, that awareness that your so-called enemies have. Don't see people. Don't see people. People are never your enemy. They're just teachers. Okay? Enemies are enemy. My real enemies are inside. They're how I think, how I process, my paradigms, how I receive information, my view of the world. That's why you folks in the Midwest, you have to travel. I love Omaha. It's one of the top 5 cities in the world to raise a family. It's a beautiful place. But if y'all don't get out of here, y'all be thinking stuff the rest of the world don't even think. I'm like, where y'all get that from? And you start making decisions on these minute things that don't even matter to the rest of the world. Like, why are you doing that? Well, because this is, I said, have you ever been outside of Nebraska? Well, yeah. Where'd you go? Well, I went to Denver. No, Denver is still the Midwest. Kansas City is still, okay. How did I get here? You have to get an awareness because your enemies are aware. If you don't pull out your stone, your enemy knows your history. Don't mess with that girl. Leave her alone. You remember in the 5th grade? When we tried to get her in trouble and it backfired? Don't mess with him. We were messing with him before and something happened to us. People know who not to mess with. But you need your own awareness that God is with you, that God plans to do something God's been working on your behalf all your life. People around you can see that God has been working on your behalf. And now you're beginning to see the actual drop of everyone's resistance. You're going to start to feel that resistance is no longer there. You're going to start to feel like where there were walls, there are no more walls. You're going to feel like in your mind, when an idea, a crazy idea hits your mind, and it used to just bounce off of your mind, ideas are going to come and you're going to ponder, I wonder what that would feel like. That's resistance coming down. That your paradigms are being reshaped and challenged. So you need this sense of awareness. You write that down? So as you begin to sense an awareness in your heart, note it, pay attention to it. When you would see a car and you'd say the car is expensive. And now you see the same car and you're like, that's a nice car. Your paradigm has shifted a bit. And now you can receive that the car is nice. It's not expensive anymore, it's nice. Next thing you know, you're going to go on down to the place and drive a new one. It doesn't cost you to drive a new one. Test drive a new one. Am I right? So someone say awareness. So first of all, I don't want you to sweat. I don't want you to sweat. I don't want you to sweat. I don't want you to sweat any of these ideas. First of all, because you have a history with God. Second of all, everybody knows, don't sweat it, because everybody knows God is with you. Everybody knows that there's potential there and resistance is falling. Number three. God will mark you for covenant. There's a covenant he made with Abraham. He made it with Isaac. He made it with Jacob. And now you have that same covenant with God. That same covenant is on your life. Let's read Joshua 5:2. So good. So good. Trek with me, all right? Joshua 5:2-5. Let's read it aloud together. At that time, the Lord said to Joshua, make flint knives for yourself and circumcise the sons of Israel again the second time. What did he say? Circumcise the sons of Israel. So the next verse says, so Joshua made flint knives, and men, this means knives. This means knives made from stone. Hallelujah. We're going to circumcise all the brothers with a rock. This is what we finna do. The ladies are laughing. Ain't one brother in the room laughing. They cry. No. Not 8-day-old brothers. 40-year-old brothers, 35-year-old brothers. These is real brothers. These are real men. Okay, let me get back to it. So Joshua made flint knives for himself, and he circumcised the sons of Israel at the heel of the foreskins, is what they call it. And this is the reason. Why did he do it? This is the reason why Joshua circumcised them. Read it. Yep. They did what? They died in the wilderness. They died in a place when they refused to go to the next level. And after they had come out of Egypt, they came out of Egypt, and all the men that went into the wilderness died. Keep reading. For all the people who came out had been circumcised, but the people born in the wilderness on the way as they came out of Egypt had not been circumcised. So this is what happens. You got 2.5 or 2 whatever million people who came out of Egypt. They refused to go in. So God says everybody who refused to go in has to die. Because I can't take your feet where your mind won't let me. I can't make you possess a life that your mind won't accept. I can't give you a dream I put in you if you will not accept the dream as your own. So as soon as you decide, not physically, y'all, let me make sure I get that on the CD, DVD, and on Facebook Live. I'm not saying you're going to die physically. I'm saying that as soon as you reject what God has for you, he just leaves you alone. No more dreams. He doesn't bombard you. He doesn't want to frustrate you. So he just lets you live your life. So now he says, all of those who came across the Jordan who were not circumcised, I need to circumcise you. Circumcision is the cutting away of flesh of your intimate physical parts. By the way, men, if there are men who want to be circumcised, men can be circumcised. But you don't do it anymore for religious reasons. You don't have to do this because your covenant now, we are circumcised in the heart, our intimate part, the part we use to love. So we don't have to be physically circumcised. And women are never circumcised in Scripture. So any cultures that circumcise women because they think there's nothing in the Bible that supports it. Are we all right with that? So God says, I'm cutting that away because it's a sign you got a covenant with me. So he cuts away our hearts because it's a sign we have a covenant with God. It was an outward sign of an inward reality. Circumcision says you are in relationship with Yah, not Yahweh, Yah, Y-A-H, Yah. It means everything, about everything, everywhere. You're in relationship with the creator of it all. You have a covenant with the entity who made everything. There is nothing he doesn't know about, nothing he doesn't control, nothing he doesn't manipulate, nothing that's hidden from him. He knows everything about everything everywhere. This is a sign you're in cahoots with him. This is very important. I'm going to get to the end in just a minute. So now, it's a seal that means God can now have grace on your life. That when he sees the circumcised heart, he says, now I can bless you. This is all the stuff that we go through before Jericho. Before we accomplish something big, God's going to take us through this. Number 4. He removes the reproach. Joshua 5:9, too good. Too good, right chair, right chair, right chair. This is too good. This right here is too good. This is peach cobbler right out of the oven. With homemade vanilla ice cream on the top. And because it's so hot and it's real ice cream, it turns into cream around the edges. So you don't have to dip into the ice cream to get the cream. You can just scrape the peach cobbler from, am I saying it right? You just scrape that peach cobbler from around the edge and you get a little cream too. The last section you eat is the middle. Overflow. My wife says move on. Joshua 5:9. How many of y'all saw that though? You saw that? What color was your bowl? Okay. You're like, oh yeah, oh. Sometimes the peach cobbler is too sweet, so you can't finish. But when it's just right, you finish your whole bowl and you don't feel guilty. Okay. Then the Lord said to Joshua, this day, so I've taken you through 3 steps, Josh. And now that you let me circumcise you, this day, I have rolled away the reproach of Egypt from you. Therefore, the name of the place is called. Reproach is not shame. Shame is what you feel when you screwed up. Reproach is different. Reproach is literally how you feel after someone else lets you know how they feel negatively about you. I didn't say that right. Let me try again. Shame comes from you. Reproach comes from when someone turns you down, walks away from you, won't give you the job, and then they tell you it's because of you. Reproach is a film, a spirit, a culture, it's a thing. Y'all like, Pastor, can we help you find the word? Please help me. It's a stronghold, but it's on you. And no one will help you. You're rejected everywhere because they just sent something on you. So they cannot approach you. They will not approach you. They will not help you. They will not open up their understanding to you. They will not, and sometimes they don't even know why. God says, you should have never been in Egypt. You know you shouldn't have been in Egypt. You should have never been enslaved for 400 years. You know you shouldn't have. You know you shouldn't have went to that party. You know that you knew it was the wrong girl. You knew it was the wrong guy. You knew it was the wrong job. You knew better than this. And you did it anyways. You made a bad decision. And you're in Egypt because of you. If you had done what I said, you would have never been in Egypt. And that's why Esau is better than Jacob, because he had a 400-year head start. So God says, this day, I'm going to take that on myself. From this day, there will no longer be reproach on your life. People who wouldn't open themselves up to you are going to open themselves up to you next week. People who blamed you for stuff, they're going to release their claim. This must be kind of deep. Y'all okay? Is this okay? Because we done all messed up, right? Your neighbor did not shake her head. Tell her, yes, you did. You did. You did. You may be a narcissist, but I'm helping you understand. You did mess up. All of us have. Done stuff, been somewhere, acted like we know we shouldn't have. Thank God we don't have to be in karma. God forgives. He says, I'm going to roll away this reproach on your life that holds you at bay. That every time you show up for the job, you're always looked over. I mean, you never win the cake at the bake-off. Doors don't open for you. Relationships start, and all of a sudden, they don't want to even talk to you. You're like, what happened? And you never find out why. And you don't find out why because sometimes people don't know why. They just know there's something about you. Okay, I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about myself. There's just something about. So I started years ago. I would chase some people down and say, what happened? And finally, Martin, I don't know. I just can't be friends with you. What? Why? I don't know. There's something about you. There was something on my life. No matter what job I got, I was still poor. No matter what friends of influence came into my life, eventually I lost them. Anytime it seemed like, hold your head up now. Hold your head up, please. Hold your head up, please. Let me finish. Anytime I started something and it was exciting, it fell apart. It was happening when we were married. Couldn't figure it out. Could not figure it out. And the Lord took me through this process. And he removed the reproach. Because you can put on makeup, cut your hair, and trim your beard. You can get a $10,000 weave that goes down to whatever it needs to go down to. But when you walk in the room, if reproach is on you, you are not going to get the contract or the girl or the guy. Can I say this and not make nobody upset? I would hear these things in marriage conferences all the time. We would do singles conferences, marriage conferences. We got to do some more of those, Lenny. But we'd be in a room in singles conference, and invariably, no matter where we were, someone would ask, why is it the girls who are not so attractive always get a man? Y'all say, how he get over there? I'm fixing to help you. And I'm not calling the girls who have men in here unattractive. Come on, Dr. Strong, I'm good. Hold on, baby. Hey, I'm coming. She's like, what are you talking about? I got a man and I'm good looking. No, what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. I'm going to make it plain, babe. I'm going to make it plain. Here is what we would say. It's not a matter of how she looks to you. She has a man because of how she looks to her. And because she feels good about herself, she has no reproach. So she don't care whether he like her or not. She like her. And a man likes a woman who likes herself. Bruh, don't you get hooked up with a woman who hates herself now. You're going to spend your life. Okay. Anyway. Going back up here. Reproach. Some stuff I can't say, so I just point. That's what I meant to say. So reproach, it addresses people in such a way to express disappointment, disapproval. Disapproval. And that disapproval gets on us. And we wear it like a coat. It's like a perfume, a cologne we spray on ourselves when we leave the house. And we say, it doesn't matter. Anytime I wash my car, it rains. Because you got reproach. So now it wasn't supposed to rain. But because you're expecting rain because you just washed your car, somebody drives by you and splashes the puddle just on your car. And then you go, see, I told you. Yes. Yeah. That's reproach. You expect it from life, and life gives it to you. So God says, I love what Joel Osteen said. He said this, man, brilliant. He said, they could not go into the promised land with shame, feeling unworthy, and not valued. So God had to roll away reproach from their life. And I'm telling you, you don't want to go to Jericho with the wrong view of yourself. You don't want to go after the contract thinking you're not going to get it. Because when you walk in the room, people never forget. And when they see you in another room, they remember, you know, he was in that room before, and this is what happened. So it's probably going to happen again. So until you take care of yourself, stay by yourself. So when you emerge, it's a whole new person with a whole new strength, whole new confidence, whole nother set of awareness. Let me finish this. I'm supposed to be done right now. Number five, last one. Joshua 5 and 10. Now the children of Israel camped in Gilgal. They kept the Passover. This is the man. They kept the Passover, and then they ate the produce of the land, and then the manna stopped. What happened? The manna stopped. Imagine 40 years, 3 times a day, God would put out food. You went to get it. Now this day, there's no food, no expectancy. Here is why, folks. Let me get to the bottom of this. Manna was designed by heaven to feed you in the wilderness. Manna is God's way of feeding you in the desert. It's not God's way of feeding you in Canaan. God doesn't feed you with manna in Canaan. He feeds you with whatever you want to eat in Canaan. Whatever you're willing to grow and seed and fertilize and take care of. That's how he feeds you in the place you're going. He opens a door for you to create out of your own mind. Does that make sense? So when you went through your wilderness experience, God provided and carried you through it. Now he has something greater and better for you. It comes out of you and out of your spirit. Make sense? Last one, Joshua 5:13. I said the last one was the last one, but this is really the last one. And it came to pass when Joshua was by the Jericho that he lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, a man stood opposite of him with a sword in his hand, sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went to him and said to him, "Are you for us?" Don't go to the next verse, please. Joshua is looking at Jericho like you are. Like I am, like you are. You're looking at something that you've been dreaming, and now you can see it in your grasp. It's right in front of you. You're trying to get your courage up to go for it. You're trying to pull yourself together, right, to face it. You're trying to pick yourself up. So you're looking at it, paying some attention to it. What Joshua didn't know is that there was a man standing there, capital M. There's a man standing there, standing next to Joshua. Joshua's looking at Jericho. He sees next to him a man, and this man has a sword in his hand. This man doesn't have a sword in his sheath. This man is standing with a sword in his hand. So Joshua takes out his sword, and he says, "Are you for us or for them?" Watch the answer of the man. The man says, next verse, the man says, "No." Stop. Hold on. My question is, are you for us or is you for them? He says, "No." Which one are you saying no to? This is important for me because I'm Joshua. I ain't Moses. I will cut your head off. I ain't bringing nobody out. I'm here to take people in, and I have a sword in my sheath. Moses didn't. He had a rod. I got cold, hard steel right here. He better be glad he didn't use it. Because this guy who is Jesus, this is the Christophany is what they call it. Christ showing up before he showed up. And Christ said to him, "No, I'm not here to take sides. I'm here to take over the command of this army. I'm not for you. I'm not for them. I'm for God. And because you represent God, you're going to get the benefits of me working for God. You are no longer in charge of this army. You are no longer in charge of where these people are going to go. You are no longer in charge of what they can have. I am in charge. So Joshua fell on his face. And no. He says, I'm commander of the army of the Lord, and I have now come. And Joshua said, I'm so glad I didn't swing at you. He falls on his face. Now watch this. What does my God, my Lord, say to his servant? Since you're Jesus and you're here, what do you want me to do? Clear instructions. Take your sandals off your foot. Why? For the place the next thing that's going to happen to you is that you're going to become aware that the battle is not yours. God, tell me how to fight this. Take off your shoes. How do I get a scholarship? Take off your shoes. How do I get the contract? Take off your shoes. How do I get this business to take off? Take off your shoes. This is not your fight. God's not showing up because he's with you. That's hard, isn't it? He's not showing up because he's against your enemy. He's showing up because he's for God. And you happen to be in the will of God. So in the next 60 seconds, take off your shoes. Take them off. Now, not literally, because everybody don't wash their feet. But we used to have feet washing services in our church. By surprise, you didn't know it was coming. Take them off. Take them off. God, are you for me? No. God, are you for the people or the things that are against me? No. I'm not for or against anything. I've come here because the will of the Lord has to be done. Jericho is God's idea, not yours. So say it with me. The battle is not mine. It's the Lord's. If you're fighting in relationships, stop. If you're fighting to get something from God, stop. Let him do it for you. Just let him. He wants it more than you want it. And I know we can be in religious circles where it's about, fight the devil, warfare. What is God going to win with your sword? Nothing. He ain't going to win nothing with your sword. Your job is to show up, stand still, and do what? See the salvation of the Lord. If you want to double your salary, receive it and see the salvation of the Lord. If you want into a place you've been locked out of, stop arguing, stop fussing, circumcise yourself, and just stand there and see God do it. Watch him do it. He's the one with the sword, and he's not bringing bazookas. He's not bringing bombs. He's not bringing choppers. He's not bringing jet planes with bombs on them. He's bringing angels. Who knows how to open every door? If that's you today, and you're saying, Pastor, that was for me, I want you to stand. Not everybody. Pastor, today was for me. It was for me, Pastor. It was for me. Something happened in my heart. I heard it. I heard it. This made a difference. This changed something. This changed something. In 2 minutes, let God circumcise your heart. Let him have your heart. Let him have your heart. Let him have it. Let him have it. Let him have your dream. Let him have your desire. Lay it down. Put it in his hands. He can do more with it than you can. Become aware that God's been working and fighting for you all your life. And now, take off your shoes. The ground you're on is holy. This is either God or it's no one. Either God can do this or no one can do this. Let him do it. Let him do it. Come on, 1 minute. Come on, 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Sing that loud, guys. Go ahead.